Wonderland, please wait. Don't go. I want to feel this for a little while longer. The tamed animal, caged, subdued, hibernating as if dead, forgotten. And suddenly the chains broke. And what resurrected from the buried depths of forgotten lusts? A demon, full of fury and comfort, dominating in a submissive gesture, wanting, needing, pleading, giving in equal parts of what made the soul quiver. Now that the flame is lit, the whole world is turning to ash. The desperate agony of being felt and making feel, the imprints of orgasmic ecstasy, of exploration, of every curve, every depth, every syllable, of screaming without inhibitions, pain or pleasure, insatiable lust out there in the open, asking, begging to be claimed. Stay, please, time, stay still. Forget to move. Pause. Let me hold on to this raw, crude, demanding, uncompromising self, of being granted reciprocations with almost the same intensity, if not more. The casualness, carefree hours, the constant universe of unique incidents stacking over each other without trying much. Vibrations, storytelling, the background art of seduction with voice that was ignored and some ideas implemented right away, as if under a spell, as a direct order being humbly obeyed as if by routine, and being surprised at the reception of such experiments. To have such a volatile effect that poured out like hot lava out of all the pores of the body and would still want more. Inextinguishable desire of offering and devouring, of asking to be owned, wanting and making your own bidding, being followed equal footing, almost so, feeling the necessity of whatever it may be by the rising and falling of heartbeats, pulse exploding, body quivering, pleading with the eyes, keeping the stubbornness by holding the words back, the ones you know perfectly well that wants to be said by you out loud, waiting, really waiting to be punished, without even knowing what for, not really caring but waiting just the same. To submit by will, to own by readiness, of reading the language of the eyes, dancing with the stars and the feel of you, extremely real but dreamlike. You became my wonderland. And I would, if I could, never leave. Unexpected realities are fantasies, so you make sure to keep on record as much madness as you can. Accidental masterpieces. Traded sentences to put a restriction even when you know what the eyes are pleading, to having it being said out loud for pride and for knowing how impossible it is to be ever heard again. Of little doses of many magic potions, I reached a land of palpitating echoes of the caged animals, wild, exhilarating, impulsive, buried fantasies that never found a safe place before to ask with such authority. It lasted but a day. The little few hours remain. When the eyes blink next, you will not believe this alter ego lived for a day for real and made you forget what settling is. I still feel it as I try to pen down with subtle innuendos of the obvious monstrosity, flames that only ignited no matter what you put into it to calm it down. Wildfire, uncontained, furious, a blazing inferno, where you just want to stay and still don't know for sure if all of this was real. If it is a dream, don't wake me up. If I have to go back, please, as a last request, with absolute pleading and desperate begging, let me keep this me, if it was me, for a little while longer, please. As soon as the bells will ring, it will be the death of her and a fable of unreal sensations. For you to revisit if your walking dead persona of your everyday could dare enough to really remember all of it with the minutest details. You asked me if I could be your trip. I dared you to make it the craziest you ever had. And with absolute certainty, I can bet on this. You two will never ever get a high like this. Time, you bloodthirsty bitch. Hey, I hate you. And I'm in gratitude. And I render sincere apologies. And this is what goes down in history and is never spoken of ever again. You will feel me and know exactly what you were feeling and would want to go back, but this wouldn't exist. Some things never happen, and in between them only are you ever absolutely liberated. Let me hold on to it, all of it, just for a little bit longer. And for that reason only, I refuse to close my eyes even for a second. I cannot afford to miss a single second of the day that may not have been real, where I was exhausted, consumed, relished, wanted, felt, and really needed. Of a few hours where I finally managed to find my escape. Episode number 10. Can't believe I made it till here, considering how I have been functioning lately, which is to say, barely. So I thought this is probably the right time to put the embedded pieces of me in between that is there in the podcast description. I keep going back to words. Words are my comfort space. I read books that I've read before. I go to poems that I know by heart. When life is too difficult to handle, stories have always been my escape. And that is what I have been doing in all the previous episodes. Trying to justify my feelings through the words of others and hoping that you felt them too and knew that you were not alone, that there are other people who feel things too. Today I bring to you some of my very own words. And I hope that maybe in my stories too, you will find some comfort, maybe a smile. I need to give some thank yous that have been due for a long time. Firstly, the most unexpected. Beta Stoned, thank you for actually drilling the idea that I should make a podcast. Thank you. Anya, my favorite sister. The name for the podcast actually came while I was discussing what it could look like with her. Thank you. To my mother, she is probably even more enthusiastic about this podcast than I am. She asks me about every episode, listens, she gives me feedback, and she has been the biggest supporter and distributor of this since its inception. Ma, I cannot explain how much your support actually means to me. So thank you so much. And to everybody who has stuck by me, listening to every episode, telling me how they liked it, sharing, and coming back to listen to more. Thank you, all of you. And now that we are at it, instead of boring you at the end, please let me remind you that if you're listening to me on Spotify, please hit follow. The Apple crowd, give me a rating and a review maybe. If you're outside India, this podcast is also available on Amazon Music and Audible now. Please follow the Instagram page at What Saves Me From Drowning. Now I will shut up and get on with the stories. If you want to read them, I have attached links to all the three in the show description. What's your poison? Think about it. Whatever you run to when you want to forget your world. The she in this story is your poison. Maybe you'll feel the story more. Her unexpected visits are the best. Without any plan and with a little looking around, you could find her. Not easily, but if you know where to look. She has her places, shared with the most desperate of souls. She never reveals her reasons. She just goes where she thinks she has a purpose. Today she stood on the forest road, wrapped in a white shawl made of moonlight and fireflies. She looks at me with crystal eyes and winks coyly. Why do you want me today? I can feel you don't need me, she asks sternly. You know why. I sat staring right back, caressing her dress slightly with my fingers, trying to remember what she felt like last time. Something is different today. I just can't seem to place my finger on it. She's more relaxed, welcoming, calm. Maybe want and need makes all the difference. We share silences and stories and songs and speed. She's being more generous to me than the others. I don't mind. Does she? I want to ask her so many things, but every time a sentence begins to form, it seems so trivial and she gives me a kiss that shakes my soul. She knows what I want to ask. She also knows she'll never give me the answer. What would be the fun in that? She loves her tricks and her secrets, and she's extremely good at keeping them both. I'm tempted to be with her a little longer. That always happens. No matter how much she gives of her, I am always desperate for more. I would never say no, and she knows it. She wouldn't stop me either. As I step away from her into the darkness of my existence again, I see her smiling proudly at me. In one gaze, she tells me she would visit me again when I need her. She doesn't want me to want her. I love treading the dangerous lines, and she's drawn the limits. All I can do is plead and comply and hope I would want to need her someday soon enough. I feel a rush of content and satisfaction as I sit alone in my safe corner of the terrace and watch the cigarette being devoured by the winds more than me. I don't mind. I can still taste her on my lips, feel her in my being. I close my eyes to try and remember what she tried to tell me when I was leaving. I don't care. I was with her. I was happy. I am happy. I will try to find her again in my dreams. I know she wouldn't let me sleep. Just for this. She's stubborn. So am I. It's an endless game. Nobody ever can decide who wins. And we both prefer it that way. That's how I can love her. And that's how she knows she can make me dance on her fingertips whenever she wants. But only if I could manage to catch her again. I am not a huge fan of happy endings. Never have been. I just think happiness is something that is very momentary and very fleeting. But there are these random happy days, You just wake up in the morning and have this feeling that today is just going to be amazing. Well, the last thing is a toast to one such day. A day that had nothing special and everything special. And when you're absolutely down, you feel like going back to such days. And remembering that life could make you unexpectedly happy when you least expect it. And before I say goodbye, let me share with you one lesson that I have learned the very hard way. If something is important to you, extremely important, be very careful who you share it with. If words mean things to you, do not assign them to somebody who would never understand the intensity or gravity or importance of it. Trust me, will save you a lot of hurt in the long run. And now, let the story begin. Serendipity. 1. When life has been a constant shade of hues, a little grey morning can do wonders. Some days, there is silent music in the rustling wind amidst trees, a tune that only you can hear and means something just for you. Do you smell something? No, silly, not the dark blend of freshly roasted coffee, not the pungent familiarity of your brand of tobacco. No, different. Familiar yet misplaced. Your eyes close for a minute to actually believe you aren't dreaming. This sensation, the feeling of relaxed warmth, is actually there. It exists. For real, you are feeling, not wishing to or hoping to feel. You're not ice. You can feel. You know what it's called. You know you are happy. That smell is the smell of freedom. Today, you are unaccountable to everyone but you. Today belongs to you. 2. You are not put off by the sun even though the morning tricked you into believing it will rain. The only certain thing you would have wanted to look forward to. But strange plans are falling into place in a series of accidental lucky incidents without really trying, and it feels like you could also be someone whose plans actually work out. So you stop planning and start doing things that pop into your head at the first go. Taking risks, acting impulsively, going back half a decade in your head. Heck, you even dress like that. You feel good, young, alive. You can't stop smiling. It's been so long, your jaws hurt. You touch the person sharing the 2x2 inch of space with you to make sure this is real. It is real. You are not a ghost. Life, for a day, is not a wishful waking dream. 3. You, half for convenience, half for mischief, plant seeds of a salacious fantasy in innocent minds. You do it because you can. And why not? Why should you always be on the demanding end of wishes? You settle down in a familiar territory amongst people that are now home in a sense. You bring surprises that really doesn't surprise anybody but is welcomed cheerfully. You try and fail to set the mood to any kind of music. The sun is gone, the wind chimes on the blue painted window chatters, and the wind is picking up pace. You know you are content. It seeps out of your pores. You click a lot of pictures, or try to. Some turn out extremely well. Another skill is being acquired slowly. The terrace is inviting, cold, windy, swirly, and insanely beautiful. The floor feels like bliss on bare feet, and you walk and twirl and dance to the sway of winds and let your hair go wild and tangled and feel cold and don't complain. You do not see yourself searching for covers. You feel warm in the company and conversations, and you are at peace. Nothing feels more complete for now. You don't give a fuck about what is not now. Now is where you are breathing, normal, wanting to. 4. You drive out in the wind and meet the rain on your way away from the usual route. Everything is timed the same and spaced different. Usual is a little different today, like everything else. The only thing that is constant all throughout and in every situation is the grass. 5. You feel the coolness of water droplets on every inch of your body. You realize you didn't let the rain touch you the entire season last year. It's as if you are quenching a long, deep, buried thirst, like a man deprived of water for life. You question yourself about your masochistic ways of depriving yourself of things you love. You also wonder why all you have wanted to do for as far back as you can remember is sleep. Just sleep, which is never actually achieved. And then you let the rain wash away all the sad thoughts out of your body as an equally wet palm slips into the folds of your hands, and your hand is not empty anymore of invisible dreams. You feel real. You are sharing the first rain on a passively safe road in a season that is not meant for rain, but is every bit surreal. You turn towards the person and blink. He does not vanish. You wonder how unforeseeable this was a couple of years ago, how tables have turned and definitions, and wants and situations, and just the perpetual feeling of shared moments and bliss and something new. You wonder if it's an imposition. You ask. You never really get an actual answer. You think of thinking about it but don't. If this shouldn't be happening, the simplest way is saying no. But there is no lurking presence of demands being fulfilled. It's almost a feeling of wonderment and newness. It feels right. The feeling wins. 6. The weather does all the wonders. You can count on your fingertips the amount of time you really, truly, earnestly don't want to go home. The obvious delays doing the most habitual things, laziness and casualness about deadlines, vague half-hearted efforts to end a casual day that turned into an escapade. Intense stuff. White flags wavering in the whirlwinds of freedom that must soon be tamed. You want to be alive, your wildness returning, your impulsive childishness indulged for a moment longer, for a split second more, and to hold it in the palms of your hands and capture tightly in your memory box of a head and keep no written testimony. This was a day really lived. It shall stay alive, to be tried, to be felt when you seek warmth and to listen to your own heartbeats.